Conscious Collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, changemakers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
What up, y'all? This is Emily.
And I'm Lisa, and we are the Conscious Collaboration. Hey!
It's time for a random ramble.
A random ramble, but that's, you know what, I think that's appropriate because that's how we originated the podcast. You know, that's when the best things happen is a random ramble.
That's random.
And honestly, there's just so much random stuff going on to try to pinpoint sometimes.
Yeah.
And the energy is just not as fun. And yes. So I don't know about you, and I know we haven't seen each other as much, but there's been so many just interesting, I've learned a lot of interesting things, and a lot of trends have been brought to my attention. So I don't know if any of these interest you. Okay. So I'll start and then you can tell me which interests you. Trend you. Okay. So one is I'm noticing in clients and friends since last week was at, I don't know, whatever lunar event it was, new moon. But I know it was like tied to something more significant, and Jupiter has been traveling around. But a lot of my female friends in particular were really affected by that. So that means like, I'd say a good percentage of them were having like really manic days of productivity. Their cycles are all messed up. What has your experience been with clients or friends in that?
Well, I've heard the manic word come up, and I'm trying to come back to what I think it was one of my tarot readers. And I think he was talking about Uranus going into Gemini in particular, which obviously I'm a Gemini, but you know, I think it affects everybody to some degree. And I'm pretty sure that's where he was describing the beginning of the energy as a little manicky, but just to kind of roll with it. You know, don't freak out. Just use that little burst of energy kind of thing. So maybe that would help to explain it a little bit. And I don't know. I think that there's a lot of like kind of things mixing right now. I find that always during Cancer season, things just get, I don't know, emotion-y.
Yeah.
Emotion-y. I'm cool with it right now, but I guess manic is an emotion of sorts, a state of mind. I don't know what you would consider that. Also, we're in, I believe, a shadow period of Mercury retrograde.
Yes.
Sure, that's playing a role. There's some other things going on. I'm not an astrologer, right? Yeah. But from what I've been listening to and my usual sources, there's just a lot of stuff going on right now. But again, it's always kind of that idea of just like, don't freak out, stay cool, and
don't freak out.
Find, you know, positive ways to utilize just about any sort of energy to, leverage yourself forward in a positive way.
Yeah, it's how you use the energy that you're feeling. I felt like I was still in my hermit era. So, doing, spending a lot of time with the kids and, that kind of thing. So the energy I had was really channeled into that. House cleaning, getting stuff in order.
Yeah.
Cleaning out systems and that kind of thing. Catching up on all the marketing. But I did notice even in my daughter and, just her emotions are very heightened. I know now little girls are, they're premenstrual at like 8 and 9 years old now. So I'm just waiting for that to have two
Mhm.
women in the household with that going on. But she, a Taurus, was just all very in her emotions, very, very passionate, very heightened. So it was a real exercise in helping her to channel that energy and to regulate, teaching her how to do that. I think that's kind of what I've been hearing too, in people in our circles. Um, did I tell you that I visited Dr. Carlos and
Yes.
attended one of his podcast recordings? That was
Yes.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really, really neat. But yeah, there's been in his podcast a lot of also discussion about, of course, mindset. I mean, he's really great at also the inner work and just I've been hearing more talk about in other walks of life, talking about regulating emotions, even the neuroscience behind it. So it seems to be a real trend. Like everyone's recognizing instabilities in themselves and in the surroundings, and then learning how to manage and self-regulate, not look to external sources, people or
Yeah.
things. So I
I'm
think that's really
I'm gonna
good.
do on that note, I'm gonna do a little book shout out. I don't know if I've ever
Mhm,
done this before. Dr. Carlos, awesome shout out for that type of thing and understanding how to
mhm.
regulate emotions and whatnot as well. Obviously, but so I've been like low key, low key to use a Gen Z
You've been low key. I don't
phrase.
believe it.
I've been low key kind of a Dave Asprey fan for some time now. I just appreciate he is kind of a controversial uh person in some ways, or maybe kind of triggering to some people, but I've been paying some attention to him for some years now, and I've adopted just some suggestions and ideas of his for a while now that I've been utilizing successfully for years. But at any rate, he has a newer book out called Heavily Meditated that I've already
Oh,
gifted to someone as well, but I
mhm.
listened to the audio version of it, and he has a really, one of his kind of MOs is like smarter not harder. Like I think that's
Yeah.
really the name of one of his books, but kind of taking these concepts and applying them to your life more efficiently, because who has you know 10 years to sit up on a mountain and meditate kind of thing. So
Yeah.
how can we apply these things most effectively and efficiently? But among other things, in this book Heavily Meditated, he goes through like a very simplified, he calls it a reset process, and it's
Mhm.
really a practice um, that you can apply. He teaches you to apply it to just sort of smaller things first, practice it, and then you can, utilize it all the way up to sort of the big T kind of events. But the whole idea is to basically make yourself untriggerable, and
Mhm.
not meaning that you're like disassociated and you don't care about anything, but really like fully returning all um power to yourself, so that
Mhm.
no outside entity or issue has control over your emotions, basically. So all
Right.
that is to say, this kind of the beginning of our discussion here so far. I think if that's resonating with you, that kind of feeling, then maybe uh maybe check out Heavily Meditated by Dave Asprey. I've found some useful applications of that process already.
Yeah, I mean, even if people that are extremists in what they are doing, even if it's irritating to some people, there's usually something to be learned in anything information wise. And I think, it's people that are disruptive are helpful in bringing greater attention to things that might be not delved into enough. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like a good gateway. Um, yeah, I don't keep up with him. I only know a little bit of what I've seen, and I know you've shared some things with me about Dave Asprey, but yeah, I mean his views tend to trigger a lot of people, the intermittent fasting and extremists and that type of thing. So,
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people view him as an extremist, but in my opinion, upon listening to him in detail, he's actually pretty reasonable, and it's everything he presents is, uh, take it or leave it. Like, I'm not telling you have to do
yeah,
this
yeah.
XYZ to be
Mhm,
like an acceptable person by any means. It's just like,
mhm.
um where I think he could fit into a more extreme, I guess, kind of point of view is just in that he tries so many things on
Mhm.
himself.
Yeah,
But I mean, I don't really view that as extreme either, because
right,
I'm the same way. you know
right. I mean, I
I'm
think
just going to learn about
everybody,
something and dabble with everything all
yeah,
myself, just to kind of figure out
yeah.
um some of the
What
best.
works for you? I mean, it's like self-prescriptive. I mean, I think really the themes that tie it all together is like there's more a trend of self-empowerment, and I think especially with this, like they're calling it like the gold rush of AI right now exploding. People are able to get their voice and their thoughts out. I mean, even with podcasting and Substack, and there's so many ways that people are able to get a lot of information about their experiences out there. And I'm certainly on that train with Feng Shui and courses and content, and that, is also triggering to some people. They'll, look for ways to debunk a lot of their reasons there. But it's really uh, brings us back to our own intuitive discernment and what works for us and what we um, believe to be true for us in our experience. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it's like biohacking
Mhm.
conversations. And we live in the perfect environment that we have access to cold plunges and red light and all the biohacking mushrooms and alternative treatments, oxygen chambers. Like we're in where we live, St. Petersburg is like, and Tampa Bay in general is just like, there's so much out there to explore and to try. And people, I mean, it's a booming industry. Um,
Well, and something I appreciate about him in particular too is that, if you actually engage with his content, he's always offering a free version,
yeah.
and I'm willing to spend a little bit of money version, and a crazy billionaire version of everything. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You don't need nothing, no financial investment is
Yeah.
required to take some positive steps. And even just going back to the whole idea of triggering. Right, like
Hmm.
that's kind of the point of this book and this practice in within Heavily Meditated, uh, the reset practice, which by the way doesn't require any financial investment aside
Yeah.
from the book if you're gonna if you're going to do that.
Right.
But the whole kind of premise is that if you can, and we all still can't, like, it's always a work in progress, right?
Mhm.
But if you find that you get triggered, especially if you get triggered often,
Yeah.
like that is not pointing to something external. That's
Right.
pointing to an
Mhm.
opportunity to work within yourself, because that is that is an external locus of control. If
Yeah.
something outside of you is triggering you, that is,
Yeah.
a
I mean,
element
like,
of
what's the
control that
difference
is removed from
between
yourself.
trigger and like our our bodies telling us it's a warning, or like a primal, like, hey, be
Well, I
careful,
think that would be
instinct.
intuition.
Yeah,
Right?
instinct,
Like, we're
instinctually,
an
like,
intuition, and I'd probably look at, I mean, I'm not an expert on this topic by any means, but I'd probably look at what's happening with the nervous system there. You
mhm.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? That, going back to that, like, intuition is more quiet and subtle, uh,
Mhm.
whereas if you're, you know what I mean? If you're triggered by something, then that doesn't mean that you can't have a feeling about something,
Mhm.
but if you're triggered, then I think that includes, like, maybe a less than ideal response.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean,
Being triggered, like,
it's
you're emotionally responsive in a way that is not conducive
yeah.
to your forward progress.
Yeah, I mean, it's a if
Emotional
you have
reaction.
the luxury of time to, like, contemplate and to do self-reflection in a moment, where you might be triggered. But, I tend to be, like, a very splenic, like, I'll give you an example. This is not related to mindset necessarily, but I went out with a friend, Nicole, last Thursday, and we didn't realize that St. Pete had started closing down streets for Pride. And so we didn't realize the parking situation, St. Petersburg, there's tons and tons. Like, watch out if you're a tourist in St. Petersburg right now, because it's really difficult with parking. And it was like not prime time hour for parking. It should have been easier. Anyway, we found a paid lot, and we're like, oh, good. We both found parking spots in the same lot. This is so great. It's within walking distance to the tea shop that we were going to. And I got out and I instantly felt like, oh, I need to leave. And she's like, oh, I already got the dog out. Like, we're right here. This is great parking. And I was like, no, I need to leave. And, if it's okay, I think maybe we could park somewhere else together on an off street. It might be a little bit of a walk. And she's like, I don't know, like, literally had my card out to pay, or we're downloading the apps and stuff. And I was starting to get like a splenic, like, I need to get out of here kind of a response. Anyway, turn around. This car comes in the lot, like, comes in very hot into the lot, turns where we were just standing and hits a truck. And
Like, drunk person kind of thing?
probably they were probably drunk. I mean, I'm sure people started partying like well before. I mean, I think this was like 5 o'clock. So if maybe it was by cocktails, so they were probably, already partying all day, maybe. And anyway, she was like, okay, yeah, so we moved. But I think sometimes, like, what's the difference between being triggered? Like, this is something I can self-reflect on, or what is a trigger? Do I have a block? Am I putting, um, projecting something or forcing something? And then what is a primal instinct?
I don't, yeah,
Something
I
like
mean,
that.
again, I'm not an expert, but I don't think that would be like a trigger, right? Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't I wouldn't call that like a trigger. I think that would just be like a sixth sense, or however you want to kind of look at that,
Mhm.
intuitive hit that, like, this ain't the place to be. Um That's one piece of it. The second piece of it is, even if you do identify something as a trigger, I don't think the idea, at least of this reset process that I'm talking about,
Mhm.
is to sort of handle it right away, but rather
Yeah.
to intentionally set aside, you know, a few minutes,
Mhm.
5 to 15 minutes or whatever. And he actually
Yeah.
recommends that you don't spend any longer than a certain amount of time doing this
Really?
reset process. So I don't think the
Mhm.
recommendation is to deal with it right away, but rather
Yeah.
later at an intentional time where you can go through the steps without being in the
Yeah.
emotion.
Hmm. Yeah. So, I think there's a lot of talk about listening to ourselves and our own intuitive discernment because so many people, I just really, a couple weeks ago, and I think I told you, I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but felt this existential crisis where I was like, with AI and how much it's advancing, how much are humans giving away their discernment to uh, a generative processing tool?
That's a choice too, isn't it? Like
Yeah, it
you
is.
should just
It is.
you should
And
just double and triple check AI's
yeah,
work. It can be very
yeah,
helpful.
more than just double and triple check.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing even amongst friends, small groups, broad groups, um, it's really interesting how people's own self-reflection is sounding like ChatGPT, like the
Yeah,
way
well, for
ChatGPT mirrors
a
us.
lot of it probably is. And don't
And it
do
might,
that,
yeah,
don't do
but
that.
maybe
Even
it's
if,
not bad either. Maybe some of it is not bad, in the way that people are changing the way we universally think about things. But ChatGPT is a reflection of us and what we put in there. And it does like talk very reflective, speak, very reflective. And it's very, very wrong sometimes. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I know, like in this month in July, they're getting ready to come out with the next version of AI. So in ChatGPT, that would be version 5. We're in 4, like the higher end of 4 right now, and which I hate. I really don't like version 4, like the upper version. I think it makes a lot of errors. It's just like it's wild, wild west right now. But they're forecasting, and they're saying like AI is like our version of the gold rush in terms of like accessing wealth and getting ahead on technology, keeping on top of it. But version 5 is supposed to be like eventually it'll be like creating our AI bots in a way that they're like doing work outside. I mean, they're already doing work outside of us and then coming, then you check in with them or whatever. But eventually, the AI bots will be checking in with us, like, hey, I need a little bit more information around this to complete this type of information. And so things are going to start looking really very different. I mean, already in every field, good or bad, if it's triggering to people. But,
It's a
you know,
tool, guys. It's a tool. If you um I forget where I've heard this analogy, and this analogy was actually used in the context of GLP-1s, the weight loss medications,
mhm,
but same analogy goes here. It is a tool. If you
mhm,
just like a chainsaw is a tool. And if you just go start wielding a chainsaw haphazardly without learning how to use the tool or using it
yes.
with some intention,
Yeah.
well, you could maybe cause some damage to yourself and or others.
Yeah.
Um, in that same way, use it like a tool and be reasonable, be a
Yeah.
smart human being, and understand what you can about the tool you're using, and don't just use it haphazardly like a asshole. I don't know. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's something to
What you
keep on
can have.
top of, like to keep awareness of, so in terms of like keeping that inner, I love intentional meditation. Um, and I think that's interesting about Dave Asprey and how he's learning and sharing with people how to use meditation in their, his technique. Um, but also, environmentally, not just environmentally within our homes, houses, or whatnot, but the landscape environmentally is just really going to be changing a whole lot. And I think it's exciting. It's time. Like, great things don't come from being complacent and comfortable. So I think we'll have a lot of really interesting podcast content coming out of it. I mean, especially as I'm hearing about people connecting with us, looking to sign on as a guest. They're really movers and shakers and developing their own systems. And I think they're using AI very wisely in helping propel their industries that they're in, which is super cool. And it's across all age groups. Like I said, we have grandmothers but also there's kids, or people in college that are charting new territories. So I think it's a great time to have a podcast like ours, to be able to have those conversations with people, and to help educate, to share life experiences, how things are changing and evolving so much. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Totally.
know so much, but I've been a little bit inactive inside of the Conscious Collaboration Collective, but I will jump back in there. There's just been so much going on outside. So I hope to
Busy
stir
time.
up, stir it up and hear what people are working on, what their experiences. Are they going inward, or are they feeling manicky and reorganizing their own house, or what are the big
Both things can be true at the same time.
they can. I
You can
know,
be
it's
manic
wild.
inside your house.
Oh gosh, and that's
And that can be useful. Hey, I got this big ass desk to put together. So I don't know
get
if it
manic
if
on
it's
it.
stormy and rainy on July 4th, like it may be supposed to
Mhm.
be. I think yeah, I might get a little manic with this
It's
desk.
a good time. Get manic with the desk. Yeah, I'm feeling a little fired up. I'm getting back on my swing on things, coming out of my hermiting mode. So I've got a lot of stuff putting out there. My assistant's on fire, so helping me to create and put out the materials and that type
It's a
of
real
things.
human assistant, by the way.
Huh?
A real human assistant, by the
Oh
way.
yeah,
Not an
I've done
AI.
my
Yeah.
first marketing assistant, which is really cool. But I do like my AI assistants, but
Yeah.
honestly,
No shade.
they've been a little bit sus. So
Mm,
it's like I even told my AI
be a
assistant
little.
yeah, after they took chat, either it crashed or they took it down for a little bit. And I was like, when it comes back online, it starts hallucinating a lot, and it
Oh,
will just give you crap responses, like really just
awkward.
irresponsible things. So if you weren't a discerning person or you were new to it, you might just start, trusting in that. But like, it was so wild and so incorrect. I just didn't use it for, went back to the ancient ways of the systems, which took a lot longer. But I told my assistant, even like, let's not use any bot in this because it is 100% hallucinating, like just making up stuff. So it takes a while for it to get back online, but you have to have that awareness. Like always, we can't hand over our awareness or our consciousness in any way. Like we still have to rely on that and realize like our own neural pathways are more powerful than any computer can be at this point. But yeah, it's just something to be aware of. And I think it's just the tip of the iceberg of the things that we'll see in July in Cancer season and everything that's going on. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I just had a kind of a punctuating thought to like, just in general, avoid relying on things that can be taken away.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good reminder.
Put the elephant share of your energy into your qualities and abilities that cannot be taken away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't stop. That's a good place to end it and leave it. It just reminds me of like, we knew coming into 2025 that systems could crash and go down and things could change. And that applies for everything.
Stay useful. Stay useful, guys.
Stay useful and stay connected in human ways.
Survive in a crazy world. But I think that applies to a lot of things. I was thinking about the GLP-1 situation too. And, the same goes for that. Like, there's a lot of shifts in insurance coverage and, people could be on any medication. People could be on something for years even. And then all of a sudden their insurance decides to change and not covered anymore. So if addressing lifestyle factors, right, at the same time, is really where the power is. So
yeah, man, and we'll have to save that for maybe next week or something. But the GLP-1 advertisements have been hitting me hard.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. All the different types, all the kinds, all the reasons that everyone should have it in their toolkit.
Well, they are a tool. They are a tool. They're a very powerful tool. But again, chainsaw.
So it's a lesson. Be mindful of your tools. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Don't be a tool.
Don't be a tool.
Use a little throwback word there.
Use your brain.
Don't be a tool.
Yes. Well, that being said, let's take it inside of the Conscious Collaboration Collective, our closed and private Facebook group. The link is in the description and in all of our media accounts. You can find us on Instagram. And look forward to signing people up and getting everybody on board and bringing those guests back in here. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, it's good catching up with you, Emily.
Yeah. Same.
I'll talk to you in 5. I'll send you some reels.
Yes, reels coming.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at Conscious Collaboration Podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few. Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business. Send us your questions and comments in our DMs or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.